Hi, welcome to Ivy Brain, the talk show for entrepreneurs. On today's fundraising segment, we have Brad Feld from the Foundry Group. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what can an entrepreneur do to guarantee getting funded?
Nothing.
Breaks my heart. What can they do to try getting funded?
The only thing an entrepreneur can really do to guarantee funding is to write the check themselves for their entire venture. So I think that there's a sense amongst entrepreneurs that there's a set of things that you need to do in response to what you hear from venture capitalists that increase your chances of getting funding in any particular stage. And I think it's particularly challenging for first-time or early-stage entrepreneurs that are going through that cycle where they get feedback that says, if only you had this, or only you had that, or only you did this, or only you did that. And usually what that means is that the person you're talking to is probably not going to fund you, and you should, look harder for somebody or look differently for somebody that's actually interested in funding you at the stage that you're at.
What's a sign that an entrepreneur should look out for to understand that that venture capitalist is interested in funding them?
Well, I think the biggest challenge about a sign is that you're looking for an investor who's going to get engaged with you and engaged with your business. And there's always reasons why the VC won't fund you. But what you want is somebody who gets to know you, understands what you're trying to accomplish, and really builds a connection relationship with you as you're going through the fundraising process, where you want them to participate as a partner in your business. And they want to participate as a partner in your business. And so some of the sort of specific tangible metrics, again, especially in the early stages, start to fade away. Where it's much more about you and the business and the thing you're trying to accomplish and the aspirations that you and the team have. And much less about, did you accomplish this particular step or that particular step.
Got it. So it's about a personal relationship.
I'm really focusing on the very early stages, right?
Yes.
Once you're a $5 or $10 or $20 million business, then you're looking for later stage financing. There's often very specific metrics that people are trying to get their minds into from a company perspective. But at the early stages, it's that investor who wants to believe in you and in the vision that you and your partners have to try to create a business.
What can entrepreneurs, first-time entrepreneurs again, do to increase their odds of success?
So I think there's a couple of things that are very specific. One is surround yourself with other people who have done it before and been successful. I think there's many successful entrepreneurs who are delighted to be mentors and get involved with helping first-time entrepreneurs in their business. Talk to your peers, other entrepreneurs who are going through it, maybe for the first time or maybe experienced, that have worked with other investors where those investors took a chance on that first-time entrepreneur. So it's aggressively use the network of other people in the entrepreneurial infrastructure, especially around what you're trying to do, to try to get them engaged. That group of people, not only will they help you from the standpoint of helping you get educated about how you should think about fundraising and the nuances of it, and give you direct feedback about the progress you're making or not making with any particular investor. The mere fact that you've got people to talk to oftentimes gives you as the entrepreneur more confidence and more practice. Talking about what you're doing and sort of adjusting it in real time.
Now, I know that's difficult for technology background entrepreneurs because they tend not to be the social BD marketing type of folks who are out there networking and making friends. But I think your point is take the time, make the effort, build a network, because it's going to help you long term.
Yeah, and I would actually say that the non-BD or sales and marketing side of the entrepreneur, so the pure technical entrepreneurs, today in 2008 is very different than even 15 or 20 years ago. The heroes of the entrepreneurial cycle are the people that are the nerds.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're in an environment where there have been people that have been incredibly successful, and coming from creating something incredibly impactful from the very, very beginning. And those people have sort of set the stage and set the pace for being able to actively engage with others. So I wouldn't sort of view it as I'm not the marketing guy, so I got to find a marketing guy to go do that part of it. It's really, I'm the entrepreneur. I need to go find other entrepreneurs that look like me and learn from them.
Okay. What else?
So I think one of the things that at very early stages entrepreneurs can do is, with regard to their specific idea in their company, is to figure out how to get out there with the ideas that you have, and whether it's prototype or web service or just talking to other people, or if you're building Facebook apps or whatever it is that you're doing, do it. Get out there.
Don't think about it.
Right.
Do it.
Ship it. and
Right.
get the feedback from real people using it, because that feedback will help you evolve your idea very quickly, and also let you test what works and what doesn't work. And the more of that experience you have in the process of raising money, the better. Your answers don't have to be right.
Right.
You don't have to know what this is going to work or this is not going to work. In fact, most good investors will expect that you don't know the answer, but that you've tried some stuff and that you're constantly iterating through by getting stuff out there and trying it.
Okay. Anything on the spending side?
Yeah, assume that you have no money and no resources, and spend accordingly. So, one of the great attributes of very early stage entrepreneurs that are hugely successful is they accomplished a ton with very little. One of the mistakes I think a lot of entrepreneurs make shortly after raising money is immediately ramping up spending on a bunch of stuff that's nonsense. And you see this, sort of come in waves, in terms of time. But it's being really thoughtful on the front end about what you're trying to accomplish with whatever money you're raising. And for early stage companies, it also in a lot of cases means raise a lot less money.
Absolutely.
You probably can make as much progress with $500,000 as you can with $2 million. And if you can make as much progress with $500,000 as $2 million, raise the $500,000, make the progress, get a great investor at that level, versus be in this position where you feel like you have to hire more people up front and you have to
because
raise
you just raised a big
$5
chunk of
million or
change.
whatever it is. Yeah. So staying sort of cliche-ishly lean and mean is always really valuable, but being very systematic about how you play things out versus formulaic. Right, systematic from your standpoint is saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is the kind of business we want to create. This is how we think we should, invest the money that we've raised. Versus, Mr. Investor, what should our game plan be? Now that we've got this money. And for an experienced entrepreneur, they almost always have a game plan. So as an investor, this entrepreneur, this is how they did it the last 2 or 3 times. This is what it's going to look like this time. Maybe they've learned some things that didn't work, and so they're going to go on a different trajectory. But for that first-time entrepreneur, a lot of it comes from how you as the entrepreneur actually want to see things play out. Okay,
got it. In terms of deals, now clearly you've seen a lot of deals. What are the deals that get you excited?
So we invest in things typically very early, but not exclusively early. We're early stage is defined differently for different people. So at Foundry Group, we'll invest in companies that are a couple of people and an idea and nothing else. And we'll invest in companies that are a year or 2 into their life cycle, where they haven't really necessarily raised venture money yet, but they might have raised some angel money and they have a product in the market. So we don't have a particular, it has to look like this.
Okay.
Our filter drives much more from themes. So we like to, instead of, there's 5 of us in Foundry Group, and we all invest in the same kind of stuff.
Okay.
So there's not a person that does hardware and a person that does software and a person that does consumer internet. We all do the same things, and those things are on these themes that, from our perspective, have deep multi-year impact on either technological change or market adoption of technology.
Okay.
So we're looking for things that are going to be 10+ years of impact, where we can do multiple investments in a theme. So for us, the overlay with the themes that we're currently interested in is the top order sort. And the next sort for us becomes, if it's in a thematic area that we're interested in, is all about the people, or these people that we want to work with as partners. And it doesn't have to be experienced, inexperienced, certain characteristics. It's just our real reaction to those people as we dig in. And it's not just do we like them or not like them, but do we think that they can create a really significant company? Because there's plenty of people we like, but we don't think that they're going to be fantastic at creating a great company. It's not credibility, because it's a mix of a bunch of things, right? It's also knowing what you don't know as much as knowing what you do know. So for a first-time entrepreneur that comes in and says, I know everything, this is exactly how I'm going to do it, and here's what my game plan is, and you challenge them on a few things, and that person says, oh, no, you're wrong, I'm right, this is how I do it. That person is probably a lot less credible than when you challenge them. And he says, I don't know. I've not done this before. I need to find somebody that's done this before. Or let's try A and B and see what happens. Okay. Right? There's nothing wrong with disagreeing and pushing back, but it's how the person actually reacts to us in that context. I think it's also sort of the deep knowledge in that domain that they're building a company in. Because we're thematic investors, one of the things I've learned as an investor is it's very easy for me to invest in things I don't know anything about. And I generally suck when I invest in things that I don't know anything about. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't know how to do a particular thing, but that's what your business is about, you don't have domain experience over there,
right.
You lose credibility. So it's not a specific thing that you can, tally up on a score sheet, but it's a sense of what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And remember, our view as early stage investors is we're going to be in partnership with the entrepreneurs for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Right. It's a marriage. So
we want to be partners for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So the day after every investment, people always feel good. How are you going to feel good about the working relationship in 2 or 3 years? And we'll make mistakes, and the entrepreneurs will make mistakes, but how do you resolve those mistakes and how do you talk through that stuff becomes very important.
We've been chatting with Brad Feld of Foundry Group.